If this is you, if you're sitting there scrolling through your phone, feeling that little pit in your chest, yeah, that one that tightens every time you see her name pop up somewhere. Maybe this hits closer than you expected. Maybe you thought you were done, thought you'd moved on. But deep down, you know, you know that feeling, that gnawing. What if that creeps in when you're alone in the quiet, when the world isn't looking? You remember the way she laughed, the way she didn't notice how much it mattered to you when she left. You remember the texts you never sent, the words you swallowed because you thought it was too late for apologies, too late for explanations, too late for everything. And now there's a knock on the door you didn't expect, not literally, but in messages, in memories, in glimpses. That knock you thought you'd locked out forever. Maybe it's her, or someone like her. Someone you let go. Someone you thought would never come back, and here she is testing you, not with cruelty, not intentionally. Sometimes it's subtle, a comment, a story she posts, a mutual friend's careless mention. And suddenly, your chest tightens again. You feel that old ache, that same ache you swore off, that ache that makes you question why you ever let her go. You replay the endings over and over, each fight, each misunderstanding, each night you spent staring at the ceiling, wondering if things could have been different. And in the back of your mind, a whisper, a tiny, guilty, selfish whisper that maybe part of you wanted this. Part of you hoped she would come back. Because even when she left, even when you told yourself to walk away, you never stopped caring. You notice the small things now. The way she always knew when you were lying, or when you were pretending to be fine. The way her voice lingered long after the call ended. The way your stomach twists when you see her name and try to tell yourself it doesn't matter, but it does. You hate that it does. And yet, here you are, sitting in that uncomfortable space between relief and dread, between wanting her gone and hoping she stays. And the regret, God, the regret, you've hidden it, buried it under distractions, under work, under nights out that never quite fill the void. But it's still there. Sharp, personal, honest. Stabbing when you least expect it, like now, like this moment, when the memory of her smile cuts through every rational thought you tell yourself. You try to ignore it. Pretend it's nothing. Pretend you're over it, but you're not. Not really. So I'll ask you this quietly, like no one else is listening. Are you ready for her to come back? Really ready. Not the, I think I'm okay, kind of ready. The kind that faces her eyes and doesn't flinch. The kind that feels the pull in your chest, the heat in your throat, the memories you thought you'd buried and still stands. Because she's coming back, and the test, it's about to begin. Are you ready to see if you survived letting her go? Or if letting her go was just the beginning of something you're not ready to face? Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Most guys get this all wrong. They see it like a game, like a test of ego. She's coming back. Now I have to show her I'm untouchable. That's bullshit. You're reading it backwards. It's never about proving anything to her. It's about proving something to yourself. You remember that night a few months ago. You were alone on your couch, phone in hand, staring at a text you didn't send. Maybe she left years ago. Maybe it was last week. But that knot in your stomach felt the same. That's what I'm talking about. The way your chest tightens when memories hit you at 3 a.m. Most men ignore it. Most men act like they're fine. That's the mistake. Here's the thing. People talk about getting over someone like it's a switch. You flip it, you move on. Doesn't work that way. Emotions aren't logic. They're messy. They sneak up on you in a song, a smell, a laugh you can't place. And when she comes back, that's just the trigger. The test isn't from her. It's from life. Life asking if you've grown. Asking if you've learned what letting go really meant. You might catch yourself thinking, if I show weakness, she wins. Let me tell you, weakness isn't a loss. Weakness is honesty. It's admitting to yourself that you feel something. That you remember the fights that never made sense. The nights you spent overthinking, the small moments where you wanted her close even when you told yourself not to. Most men hide it. That's the trap. A masculine principle. Here's one: you don't control other people. Ever. You control your actions, your presence, your energy. Nothing else. She can come back. She can try to pull you to old patterns. But your power isn't in winning her approval. Your power is in standing steady, calm, unshaken by what she does because you know who you are. That's what most guys miss. They think it's about her. It's not. Remember the last fight you had? Maybe it was small, maybe it was huge. You yelled. You paused. You wanted her to stay, and you wanted her to go at the same time. That contradiction is human. That's life. Most men look at moments like that as failure. I look at it as data, proof that you're learning, that you're growing. That's the rhythm of life, messy, uneven, and yet teaching you something every time. Another principle: value your time. That's it. No games, no manipulation, no pretending. Time is the real measure of strength. If she comes back, notice your reaction, not in words, but in calm, in patience, in the way you don't leap, in the way you don't chase. That's where your growth shows. So, yeah, she's coming back. Maybe it's a message, a glance, a story that tags you without thinking. Maybe she wants to see if the old you is still there. Don't worry about her test. Focus on yours. Are you the man who stood steady while life happened? Are you the man who learned to own your choices, your regrets, your memories without being owned by them? That's it. That's the truth most men never hear. He walks into the room and stops, not fully, just enough to feel the air shift. The heater hums low in the corner, barely warming the cold that's creeping in through the window. He notices the way her hair catches the light, not the old soft glow he remembers, but sharper, edged, like a warning he's been trying to ignore. He sits down across from her, hands on his knees. They don't touch. He can hear the quiet tick of the clock above the doorway, a slow, deliberate reminder that time never stops. He wants to speak first, something smart, something that proves he's moved on, but the words stick somewhere between his throat and the tip of his tongue. Her eyes shift. Just a glance, and suddenly it's everything. The late nights, the arguments, the small silences that screamed louder than the fights ever did. He remembers the coffee they burned together, the laugh she always had when he spilled it anyway. He wonders if she remembers. He wonders if she even thinks about him. "Hey," she says, just that, air between the word, and it lands heavy like a stone in his chest. He wants to say something, to sound calm, collected, untouchable, but what comes out is almost nothing. "Hey," and it feels both too much and not enough. He notices the subtle things, the tilt of her shoulder, the way she taps her fingers on the table, impatient but careful. The smell, faint perfume, faint memory, faint something that makes his stomach knot. He wants to lean forward, to bridge the distance, but his body remembers. The nights he spent alone in bed, replaying her leaving. The texts he never sent, the moments he ignored because pride told him to. There's a pause. Neither knows where it should end. The room is warm now, or maybe it's just the pressure building between them. He thinks about the way he let her go, the quiet way he convinced himself it was for the best. But now, in the space between the hum of the heater and the faint scrape of a chair leg, he realizes the test wasn't her coming back. The test was him. Always him. His mind jumps, fragmented. Could he forgive her? Could he forgive himself? Would it even matter? He catches himself staring at her mouth, the way she's holding a coffee cup, and it's almost like a scene he's seen before. But everything is sharper now, clearer. She shifts, leaning slightly closer. He hears it, the subtle shift of fabric, the intake of breath, and he realizes the silence is screaming louder than words could. She's testing him, not cruelly, not knowingly. Just she's coming back, and he has to measure what he feels, what he wants, what he's willing to risk. His chest tightens. The memory of the old him rises like smoke, the desperate, pleading, messy version he promised himself he'd never be again. And he wonders, can he be steady now? Can he be the man who sits here, heart racing, chest tight, without losing himself in the pull of what used to be? The heater hums, the clock ticks, the world waits. And in that room, in that small, uneven pause, he knows this is the moment that decides everything. Not for her, not for them, But for him, he swallows. She swallows. And somewhere between that intake and the next word, he feels the test begin. Most guys walk into this thinking it's simple. They think, if she comes back, I have to win. I have to show I'm untouchable. That's the first belief, the one that quietly poisons every move you make. I remember sitting in my car one night, the rain tapping the roof like it knew all my secrets, scrolling through old messages I never sent. I wanted to appear strong. I wanted her to see me as untouchable. And for what? Strength isn't about showing her. Strength is about showing yourself that you can feel without being swallowed. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Boss. Then there's the belief that timing solves everything. Men tell themselves, I'll just wait. I'll see if she comes back, then I'll act. Waiting isn't clarity. Waiting is hope disguised as strategy. I remember staring at a park bench at 2 a.m., thinking if she sat there, would I even recognize her? The truth is, you're not waiting for her. You're waiting for a version of yourself that's ready. And sometimes the test isn't her return. It's whether you show up fully. You don't lose her. You lose your own presence. And there's that subtle trap, thinking attention equals connection. You see her story, her message, maybe a like on a post, and your heart jumps. Men fool themselves into thinking that's leverage. But attention is cheap. Respect is priceless. I felt it. Watching someone you cared about from a distance, wanting to chase every signal, every hint, only to realize none of it mattered. If you weren't steady, if you weren't grounded, if you weren't owning your life. Here's the slow wake, up she comes back, or maybe someone else. The test isn't her. The test is you. Can you sit in the same room, the same message thread, the same memory, and remain fully present without pretending, without posturing, without betraying the version of yourself you've been building in the quiet? Can you measure your worth by your integrity, not by her reaction? I've failed at this more times than I'd admit. Missed signals, misread pauses, chased shadows. But every time, the lesson is the same: clarity comes from within, not from a return. Emotional intelligence isn't feeling less. It's feeling fully, then choosing how to act. So, those beliefs that haunt you, the need to prove, the illusion of timing, the trap of attention, they're not enemies. They're markers. Little signposts pointing to what you haven't faced yet. And once you see them for what they are, the fear of her return changes. It's no longer a threat. It's a mirror. And finally, you see yourself. This is what he understands. Most men think a return means leverage. They think they have to act, prove, perform. Show they're untouchable. Show they're done. That's noise. That's weakness, pretending to be strength. The 1% headman, he knows the test isn't her. The test is him. It's always him. This is how he leads, with presence, not pressure. He notices the small things, the way her words land, the spaces between them, the unspoken moments. He doesn't fill them with panic, doesn't chase, doesn't overthink. He's sitting back, letting life happen, letting her return be just another thing that passes through his day, not the earthquake he's bracing for. He remembers the nights he got burned before, remembered the texts he didn't send, the calls he wanted to make, the pride he almost surrendered to. But this time it's different. He chooses patience over panic. He notices his pulse rising, his stomach nodding, the memories hitting like a freight train, but he doesn't let them steer him. He lets them remind him who he is, not who he was. Most men react to a test. They flinch, they overexplain, they push. He sits, breathes, watches. The world doesn't control him. She doesn't control him. The pull in his chest doesn't control him. And in that quiet, messy space where impulses bubble, he finds clarity. Real clarity. He's messy too. Human, he still feels the old ache. He still catches himself replaying moments that sting, but he doesn't let that ache dictate action. Strength for him isn't loud. It's steady, subtle, unshakable even when his mind wants to spin. He knows presence speaks louder than words, louder than gestures, louder than showing up for approval. He chooses centeredness over chasing. He chooses calm over reaction. He knows that if she's back, it's a moment, not a judgment, not a verdict. He doesn't need to fix it. He doesn't need to impress it. He simply inhabits himself fully, owns his space, owns his silence, owns his history and his scars. The 1% headman understands something the rest miss. The test isn't external, it's internal. The return of someone you let go doesn't challenge your worth. It challenges your mastery over your own mind, your own presence, your ability to feel, to acknowledge, to sit in tension and still not lose yourself. He doesn't rush, he doesn't overthink, he doesn't play games, he waits, watches, breaths, moves when it's his move, responds when it's his time. And in that messy, human, imperfect way, he is untouchable. Not because he's perfect, but because he's fully himself. And that's what most men never understand. He's standing by the window, rain tapping soft on the glass. The street lights blur, gold and wet. He remembers the nights he stayed up, phone in hand, waiting for her reply that never came. The fights, the apologies, the small humiliations he swallowed whole. A whisper escapes him. I can't keep doing this. The thought hits like a dropped weight. He feels his chest loosen. He feels the knot he carried for months start to unwind. Every memory, every ache, every moment he gave away to someone who didn't value it, he sees it clearly now. And it's not shame, it's awareness. He picks up a coffee cup, warms his hand, smells it, tastes it. Simple, human, grounded. His own heartbeat becomes louder than the echo of her name in his mind. Flashes her laugh, the text he never sent, the late night she left without saying goodbye. He doesn't reach for them. He lets them float past untangled. And in that pause, that messy, uneven space between breath and thought, he remembers he is enough. He always was. Not for her, not for anyone. For him quietly, fiercely, he says it aloud, I am enough. And for the first time in a long time, he believes it. She shows up, or maybe it's just the thought of her. The scent of rain on asphalt. The echo of a laugh that used to mean everything. Your chest tightens. Your stomach knots. You feel that old pull, the one that almost broke you. You remember the nights you stayed awake. The texts unsent. The pride swallowed. The ache you buried deep. And suddenly, none of it matters. Not the past. Not her. Not the test she brings. You are steady. You are whole. You are untouchable because you finally belong to yourself. And that right there, that is yours, always.